The summer of 1960 and the south end of York is busy, not only with the usual heavy East Coast Main Line traffic, but with light engine movements. In 1960, the effects of increasing private car ownership and competition from buses had not fully impacted on the railways, and the excursion traffic from the industrial West Riding in Lancashire was still a major source of revenue for the railways in the summer months. Heading for Sheffield and Manchester, two returning excursions raced towards Holgate Bridge. Immediately south of Holgate Bridge were platforms built to serve the racecourse traffic, and in June 1964, B1 61238 Henry Runciman passes the platforms on its way to nearby Dringhouse's yard. Darlington-based V2 follows the B1 towards the yard, which in the 1960s was one of the most modern in the north of England, following the installation of hump shunting facilities. Even in 1964, when these scenes were filmed, an immense volume of freight traffic flowed through York, and in addition to the usual freight locomotives, Graceful Pacifics were regularly employed on freight workings in their final years. Perhaps fittingly, the final shot at Holgate, taken on the 18th of June 1963, is of a freight working headed by a Class B16, a class long associated with York, and which within 12 months of this film being taken would be extinct. Leaving north by train provided a superb view of the North Depot, which even into the 1960s had an allocation of well over 100 locomotives. Designated 50A under British Railways North Eastern region, the depot's yards were in a constant state of flux, with locomotives constantly being coaled, watered, and turned in readiness for their next working. Sporting a cab side stripe that indicated restrictions on the locomotive, using the electrified main line south of Crewe, 45642 Boscawen of Manchester's Newton Heath Depot awaits its return journey west. From 1915, North Depot had 4 roundhouses, but in 1957, 2 of them were replaced by a straight shed, and the remaining 2 roundhouses were rebuilt and continued in use until the end of steam. Built in 1932, the mechanical coaling plant could handle 4 locomotives simultaneously, but by 1966, demand for its services was falling as diesels increasingly replaced steam in the depot yard. York was closed as a steam depot in 1967, and its locomotives sent to a variety of scrapyards to be cut up, with the depot site becoming home to the National Railway Museum in 1975. The mid-1960s was a transitional period as diesel traction supplanted steam, and diesel locomotives working unfitted freights were often coupled to brake tenders, which were intended to compensate for the lack of braking force on the relatively light diesel locomotives. Many mainline services were handled by English Electric Type 4s, and a large number were allocated to York's diesel depot. The WD-280s had no problem with braking, as both the locomotive and its tender were braked. The 60155 had been a Gateshead-based locomotive for many years, but was transferred to York in 1962 and remained there until its withdrawal 3 years later. Running in from the Scarborough line, a B1 heads into the station before reversing towards the North Depot. Following the arrival of an A3, we leave York behind and head north, passing a J27 at York Skelton Junction, where the Harrogate line diverged east.